Start with this map. Over to you, Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Yinsu. Yes, it's time to get on into the game. GX on the defensive side, and G2 looking to push them out of this series and take that trophy for their own. Now, G2 have been playing pretty good so far, but we've heard that there may still be hope, Tom. It's not over yet. This pistol round, well, it would send them in the right direction.
Yeah, the momentum's with them. The records are with them. We gotta hope that GX have still got that fire in their bellies. A good start for Smurfette already. I think she is going to be the pinnacle part of whether or not this team succeeds. The leader, but also someone who can take over matches, back on that trusty jet, and already taking down the new centerpiece of this G2 roster. Rescue being gone is definitely a good sign for them in this pistol.
Oh, there's the shots traded. In fact, the advantage won't be taken back by G2 just yet. They have managed to thread the needle with Amy. And this is a blind side for now in that defense. Add to that the fact there's players coming up close in main to go to the utility. This is where problems could start to brew. Miori, the only player to defend on that side of the map. And in fact, in spawn just now, the fight is about to go down. There's the lurk up by Amy, but now she's been spotted, not yet dealt with, but the kill's going GX's way, and no way for this spike to be planted without dealing with Miori. Well, they've done that. Perhaps now Vanya's got enough time. Indeed, she'll slip away. Damage done to Jolina. It's doable, but difficult.
Yeah, or out of utility completely. It's going to come down to the firefights and looking to try and play this one together. Smurfette will close as she began. 3 kills for her in the pistol round, especially on that jet. Always going to be ever so important to just farm up as many ultimate orbs as possible. That Blade Storm on a map you can literally jump and fly around has so much high impact. I will say as well, I do wonder if GX's comp switches are more down to comfort. Like Jolina especially going back over to the Omen from the Astra, I think makes a lot of sense. I would say personally I prefer the Astra on this map. I think a lot of high value post plant can be put in, but if you're not feeling it, then it doesn't matter. You've got to play to your strengths, especially in a game up against G2. You need to be playing your very best.
Oh yeah, there's no room for error against this squad. You leave a gap, they shall take it. And we've seen that almost every time they've played. For G2, the attack side hasn't started out well. They've lost the pistol, and they've come in here with just classics. A round that we don't expect a ton of competition in. The investment on GX, well, it is decent. I mean, if you lose Ness, it's okay. But anyone from that point and the economy struggles, the damage will be felt. Seems like Ness is actually the one with the big gun, because she's already picked up 3, and it'll be cleaned up by the rest for a nice Andalucia flawless in round 2.
Again, what a way to start things off. I think keeping it clean is so important because you keep things good for you financially, earn up the majority of the orbs, but this is also what we saw in the last map. 2 pistols going their way, 2 second rounds going their way. The game weren't that close. It was when it got into the buy rounds, that's where G2 really turns it on, and especially when you have a composition with such high amounts of utility. Like, that's the thing that I really like about this comp for G2, is you've set yourself up not only with flashes, but a lot to shroud what your opponents can do. That Harbor in combination with Astra can be nasty at times, and already could be taking away any information towards middle control. They'll get that space for free. For the defense, they're going pushing towards the B side. I think they know that they can't just give up this map control. They can't just allow G2 to section things off, especially in a round like this. Timing, it's not bad. Miori's done a lot of damage. In fact, she dinks both players, but doesn't get a kill on either.
Oh, the outlaw in for damage as well. Oh, this could be a really devastating round for GX if they walk out with no kills. But they're also set up to do some damage. Mimi's just ripped them apart. Mid-rotation is no more, and it's all Jolina. Rescue, Vanya, Amy, all so desperately low. If Jolina came into today looking for a clip, this is the opportunity to find it. First player up close, 150 HP. This, if you find the first, the rest are easy. And Jolina's looking the right way, has an idea that there could be someone down close, checks her back, and it's clear. Here comes the swing. But it's a miss, with Petra landing it instead, 2-1. 4 players alive for G2, a whole lot better than it could have been.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. So many opportunities to find kills, but ultimately all you've really done is take away their shields. That's the repurchase for this round for the side of G2. And yeah, I think the other thing as well is it gets into those late round scenarios is whether or not you can even think to go for it. Potentially crossfires in play, of course, and Alpha G2 coming out with 4 players alive from the way that started with Miori doing such a high amount of damage. It's a good spot for them to fight from. Of course, Perch is going to be right back in. Smurfette, Operator in round number 4, and she's one away from a Blade Storm. As said, I think she needs to take over this game if they're going to have a chance, but she's got off to the start she needs.
Deep Knife won't find any information. He said, we've seen some Operator pulled out by GX, and a good chance as we see all of G2, 4 at least, start to shift towards that side of the map. Seems like they're going to walk right into it. A drone, though, is sent to lead the charge. Whether it's spotted the op or not, though, remains to be seen. A smoke will soon go down. Can Smurfette get ahead of it? No, not quite. A step through here is a risk, but a risk taken. The reward, not quite. Movement error comes into play. Deep flash, but Jolene is not caught. Well, eventually she is, I suppose. A 4v4 bruise.
Sarah first on the scene, but again, sectioned off. Can remove the utility, but also get some information. Knows there's a couple of players at the back of sight, and timing is going to be everything here. A chance to get both. Petra caught out, and her teammate goes down for it, but these post plants are still difficult to break. Smurfette was honed in on the angle, but has been forced to look away. Utility being broken, and it's seeming like they're already in waiting to try and bait in a player. The problem is Amy's utility can still cause them issues. Smurfette holding, but it's actually a missed shot. It won't matter in the end. It will be GX to confirm that retake. A solid round from them, but more importantly, a solid round from Sarah.
Well, it seems like Nami had some wisdom up her sleeve as 3-1 GX are making easy work of this early half. A strong start and one that we very much need to see. Close maps are definitely an indicator that you're on the right path, but you got to see the dirt below you turn to gravel. We have to see this legitimized as a way back into the series. I think rounds like this, they go a long way to doing that.
Yeah, finding the gap. And it is a very small window for Sarah to be able to make that play. Her first couple of kills onto the board as well, and it hasn't quite broken the economy of G2. That's the thing, they kept the last round with 4 players. We mentioned it, it could have been so much more. And because of that, they're going to be able to reinvest. Now, they've been able to silence ResQ quite a bit early in this map, and they're going to silence her again. Removed from action. We've mentioned at times that this G2 roster can look weaker if she's not on that board. Amy's found some space, but of course, the door is yet to be broken.
Big 3 burst Hunter's Fury as well, all connecting. Kill found, damage done. Jolena down to 70 as a result. With a kill and a player forced back, the drone, well, it gets them all that space that they'd given up earlier on. Mimi ready to break through the vents and make this a 2-pronged attack. Pressure sits on Jolena, tagged up from the Hunter's Fury, and Ness still with full utility to work with. Now a problem. Mimi's about to break through. And Ness, oh, with an arrow out. That's a mistake. Timing perfect for Mimi. She heard the sound cue, rallied forth on it. 4 versus 2, and the op from Smurfette finally joins the round. Blade Storm activated as a result. Oh, GX are not going quietly into this night. They're going to fight for it. They're going to scrap. And the Blades, the first to find their target. Miori's already walking through. She's just sending it up from the top rope, and Petra, well, didn't seem ready for it, but certainly reacted in time.
Yeah, it definitely looked a little bit more disjointed. It's a shame as well, because Vanya is so desperately low, but now Smurfette, it has to creep into her mind that this comes down to saving. Bringing that operator through, don't know where any of the players are, weren't able to isolate the battle, and that's the thing. Again, we give credit where it's due to G2 is the second they find a big enough advantage, they're out. They're not giving you a moment's notice. No potential to even bring back this round, but that's definitely one that's got to be unfortunate for that defensive side. I think Mimi's read on the game is just impeccable. The fact that she's up there waiting for a sound cue that gives away that player can't shoot back. And sure, maybe there could have been a second one, but it was a risk that they were willing to take in that moment with the rest of the team looking to try and take the fight. And also, I guess you had the ult. So if there was someone there, they would have known.
This Petra just catching that kill. It could have went awry. It was a brave play. A roll of the dice. It's not landed on the desired value. 3-2 for GX. Op still on Smurfette, brought in 7-1. She's been winning the challenges that she's able to find.
That's not the start they wanted.
Problem is, last round her teammates fell, and this one starts out the same. Jolina down in mid.
Trying to battle in mid has not been successful. We saw Mimi get a couple of kills not long ago. And now the same for Vanya, and the pressure's going to be put onto the IGL once again. Plenty of targets is what she can get away with. Actually using their own utility to shroud herself and re-peek around. The angles being found by Smurfette, and another to her name. You walked into a site with one player on it, and that one player walked away.
50 HP. Look, it took a few bruises, took her lumps, but, well, she's got it done in the end.
10-1, by the way.
10-1. 3 kills the previous round. Bladestorm was activated not long ago. We're halfway. And it's the fact that she uses the utility, steps into it for a second, backs out. They're waiting for the re-emergence, and even still can't get the shot. And despite, a little bit of an awkward shot in between the dash, closes it out with a third.
But the thing is as well, she had the rest of her team continue that mid push. Even after it failed initially, they were confident, okay, she doesn't need the support. She's going to find the kill, she's going to delay, and we're going to utilize that. And that sends the economy of G2 right back into the dirt. Only pistols for this round. A lockdown for Mimi could potentially work in the late round, but I'd be surprised to see it used to get them into the site. And well, already some counter utility in an attempt to delay even the fake to almost bait that maybe Rescue had taken a push. In fact, they're even going to throw out the null command, just using the ultimate as a complete denial of this utility stack up.
Well, there'll be no choice but to commit. So much control given up, but they know that. With pistols, they're ready to run the risk. Even just to see how GX react, if they rotate quick enough, if they start to stack up and take the gambles. And now there's a couple kills going their way, which is worrying, which is very worrying. And Mimi's low, but has the ult. There's rifles on the ground, a plant to come through. And GX, one of the players is an op, so that low HP might not matter that much. I am starting to sweat a little bit. Oh no, Amy! The ult was used! And Miori just about caught a glimpse of her head. Now that 20 HP is all that stands between them. And a 5-2 scoreline. A damning start for G2. This wall, well, there's the information given over. They know exactly where Mimi is. Despite that, it comes way too close. But in the end, 5-2. Whew.
Yeah, these are scenarios where, again, it just seems like at any moment G2 can turn the tide. It was a desperate attempt at finding those trade kills, and yeah, it's a little bit unlucky on the timing. I think maybe expecting that alarm bot to just be that little bit deeper. They don't get the information in time for the swing coming through. And that'll be that advantage extended. One of the better positions we've seen from GX, even if some of these rounds have been close, even if they've come down to some individual brilliance. But this is the moment that I think will always strike fear into an opponent's hearts, a G2 pause. We've seen this already throughout the series, where the second these pauses happen, it's a streak of rounds that end in maybe 5-6 in a row. It's whether or not there's a counter to whatever leader is saying to his team right now.
Oh, it's going to be on Asuka. You can see certainly firing out the words. See if they carry the weight. So far, a great showing from the side of GX. And like we said recently, thinking back to even what we spoke with Nami about. The fact is that squad has had a close game on this map. I think I had it scribbled down earlier. Their series was 13-4 on Bind when Master played G2. Then they went to Abyss 13-10. A very close one. And like you said, yeah, no one's taking it off G2, but it's the first time for everything. This could certainly be it if GX keep up the momentum.
Yeah, that's the major thing. That's been the momentum breaker, just having that pause. And even if we've seen that a lot has been said, there's no doubt about it, but even if there wasn't much said, we've seen this in the past where even just a big team taking a pause can be enough for you to get into your own head. Already an aggressive start to the round from Smurfette. She wants to try and find a battle on anybody attempting to make it into that B site, and the defense is constantly moving, constantly dynamic, using that double initiator to continuously grant them extra info across the map, combining it with the Cypher. for the attack. Well, we've seen that lockdown online for quite a while, but there's a couple of other ults that in tandem with it could create a pretty terrifying force.
Here.
There's a lot of information, and Rescue, I saw the flash. Maybe that's the commitment of the open. No, and out in the open it's used. Luckily, lots of players come funneling through that choke point to take the duels alongside, around the backside. A sneaky play by Rescue, who keeps on going! 3 kills under her belt, and Smurfette with an op in her hand, and a lockdown keeping her far away. Might start to think about taking this in a different direction. Maybe going to save. Some players don't have a ton of cash, and well, the operator's certainly worth its weight in gold. It's time to move on forward. Impressive movement from Smurfette without her hand on her keyboard. Really just dialed into the server. Sometimes you gotta hook your brain up to that USB.
Response. And that's the thing, it took a couple of ultimates. I also think as well, I don't think I've had to say this throughout the series, but maybe a bit of a confidence booster for Rescue. She has been shut down in almost every single fight, and she gets shut down by the spike at the end of the round. Definitely a few blips for her so far in this map. Obviously, it's always going to be more difficult with that Yoru. You're taking quite a lot of risks. You're going to be setting up more utility in terms of the flashes as well. So those early fights have not been going her way. And we've said that. At times throughout this series, it seems like when she's on, the team are frying. Like, it almost looks easy. When she's a little bit more quiet, the rounds start slipping away.
Yeah, it's competitive. It's competitive again. I think that is very much, and again, pretty much every interview we've had so far, and from what we've seen, the utility's just been huge setting her up. And I think it's more a symptom of when the G2 formula doesn't work, she's not finding kills. But when the formula doesn't work, that's when they're losing rounds. More so than her taking her hand off the mouse or something like that, right? For G2, they certainly found their way. 3 on the board. That third connected, just one to go. Now sitting outside of what is still quite a scary situation. That op is not there to start with, but it's rotating in. There's going to be 3 players in position, and the op is heard.
Yeah.
Immediately they're running away.
That's the thing. It's almost used as a ruse to try and push them into other positions.
She's rotating.
They got the full Cypher set up, ready and waiting. That shot was literally just to pull rotation. Like to go, okay, I'm on this side of the map, and then goes back to controlling mid, has a quicker rotation back towards the A side, but it is only going to be that solo player, and Vania will be able to reveal that. Having her ultimate online is going to make things that little bit more awkward, and with already Mimi finding that opener, it's not going to be the easiest position to fight back from.
Smurfette was 2 or 3 seconds away from having a great position on backside, but Rescue beat her to it. Now that control is no longer in their hands. That spray could have been good as the Cove broke. Vanya makes it out. Planter retreats. They've spotted 4 players up close. They might not expect Rescue to be still in this spot, playing so aggressive in looking for these fights. And there, okay, element of surprise, not converted for a kill. Gate crash won't get her out of there, and so you're caught, you're dealt with. That's something for GX, a foothold as they continue to push forward. Now they can start to defuse, start to play the mind games and cause G2 to swing into that choke point, held by so many players. A smoke up, blocking out the diffuser. The sprays need to start coming in, and well, the kills have, the sprays have, the stars have, and everything's there for G2. Gorgeous play in the end, and well, you know, a lot of teams start to panic. It never looks like G2 lose their cool.
No, they had too much post-plant utility. I think they must have popped like the nanos first so that buys time, and then it gets into that late round where you have to basically aggressively push them, and they still had the star down. There's nothing you can do about that. Well, you could try a body block. I know a few people attempted that, but when there's a grab wall late into the round, it just makes it impossible. And that's the value of this comp in that post-plant scenario. When you have an ult that gets you in, and you have all of your utility still remaining, it becomes incredibly difficult. And after a streak of rounds, again, we see a pause called, leaders' words are heard. And look at the economy now of GX. They're back down to the pistols, a likelihood of the scoreline being leveled, but they're not just sitting back. They're not cowering in fear. They are walking up mid, and they have taken an awful lot of ground, but Mimi is locked in, ready and waiting.
3 players right behind. It's good for the second, and Mimi, well, she's got support now as well. They know there's a number of players here, even the turret's helping out. potential for damage seems to have waned. Maybe they drop a weapon or two, but there's a firing squad to ensure there's no damage done. And it's an Andalucia flawless from G2, that it's 3 in a row, and now 5-5. They've equalized, and 7 still within their grasp. On this attack side, it's getting very scary.
Yeah, I feel like there's an aspect of you call yourself by the name leader. You have to be pretty good at your job. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. Like,
you don't want to be demoted to assistant coach.
Yeah, it's a cocky name to have. Like, so the fact that every single time he calls a pause, they immediately start winning rounds.
Streaks of rounds, too.
Maybe it's the greatest coincidence of all time. Much more likely, G2 have got themselves another fantastic coach. Smurfette looking to try and, again, bring things into our own hands. An opportunity, but they are waiting. She's hit the tag onto Petra. It's a little bit of extra damage, but now that ultimate is in play again for Rescue. The combination. They needed Petra to be able to try and find this extra damage. She hasn't got the kill, but Rescue has claimed the site.
Yeah, first was a little low Smurfette around the side, but down to the classic. What? No one's looking! Vanya had to pick up a second, and she's down to 20 HP. Oh, that one is going to require a little bit of a breath on the side of G2, but certainly a sigh of relief can be emitting from them right now. They've managed to put the numbers back in their favor. They've managed to get the plant as well. You'd love to have, especially Amy in this post-plant scenario, the impact of a Gravwell seen earlier on. Now they have to rely on more conventional methods. Defuse to start with has been was tapped, not half. They came off immediately to look for this aggression. That seems to have caught them off guard, at least for the first. Darts up and over already. As Ness hears them landing behind, she'll go in to try to tap this defuse again. Reveal gets put into play, taps it again. Swing, taps it again, and the clock just keeps on running. Ness grabs that kill, but it doesn't matter. The clock's already decided the conclusion, 6-5.
Yeah, I think as well, again, you just have to look at these post plants from G2, even without Amy. These are not just nanos being thrown onto the spike. These are lineups that are landing one after another. So even if you get that first one destroyed, there's another one. So the player who goes to try and tap can't do anything about it because the second nano lands and you have to let go and shoot it. Otherwise you're going to get killed. Like, it's just so clean from the side of G2. And just the fate they have in their utility. Look at where Mimi is playing. Like, if there was anyone on that defuse, they lose the round. But she knows her lineup's hit. She knows that that utility is perfect every single time. And this is why they are the best of the best. Because even though their HP was low, they didn't have anyone looking at that spike for 20 seconds. It meant nothing.
Yep, they knew. Every player knew their teammates' util had landed, and there was no need to second guess it. D push from Rescue. She's gone into their spawn. Right up top mid, and Sarah, well, she had no idea. The timing was perfect, the thread of a needle. Now G2 set their sights on A. Mimi is causing some problems on B. The thing is, I don't think they're going to hear, they're not going to notice. And this rotation from GX, this gamble, is in the right direction.
It's just, the thing is, it's the same again. Vanya gets so many kills and so many orbs that you're going to go in with the ultimate. You're going to be there revealing the player, so the surprise factor is gone. You know where she is. Still done incredibly well. Mayuri did what she could, and the rifle of Ness in combination with her util. She's done what she can, still standing. A 1 versus 2. Spike not planted, but Vanya and Mimi playing this one patiently, not wanting to give her anything, and now knowing exactly where she is, they can look to try and get onto the side, but Ness is in front of that utility. Timmy the turret spotting her out, and in the end, it means nothing. It's a half win once again for G2 from the depths of defeat. They just string rounds together, and while the man on your screen is part of the reason why.
Oh yeah, definitely been putting in the work. Those timeouts have connected again and again, and for G2, their hands are still on the reins. They haven't let go. GX have an uphill battle to make this work. 3 maps in a row, starting with a 7-5 deficit. We'll find out if they've got what it takes after the break. Welcome back, folks. We're ready to dive on in to half number 2 of what could well be our last map here, Tom. It's been a 2-0 start, a strong position for G2, and many people out there, they suspected this would be another G2 3-0. Tom, you're one of those people.
I am one of those people.
How are you feeling right about now?
The thing is, I don't feel good about it. Like, I don't want it to be a 3-0. This is going to blow your mind. I like casting Valorant. I like casting close games, but unfortunately, G2 are just too good. They are a squad that has been there, done that, got the t-shirt. They have won a Game Changers championship. They've switched up their roster. They brought in even more talent. They picked the best pieces of other teams. They even picked some pieces of other teams that, again, you look back to ResQ and like a time in NIP and teams like that, you wouldn't expect this level from her. But they also build players into superstars. They see things that others can't. They pick people out of ranked at times, and those people go on to then be superstars in other teams after they leave. That is the squad that you are up against. And to be honest, yeah, we have to start believing in curses at this stage, because anything else I think would be foolish. This team is a squad of winners, a squad of champions, and okay, sure, GX, they're a fantastic roster, but right now, even when they get those advantages, it seems like it's only a moment's notice before G2 turns the entirety of the game on its head. And now they have to fight against that, and they have to not just fight against being in a deficit on this map going into the second half. They don't even have to fight against winning this map and the next one. They then have to go on and win a third. A reverse sweep is a rarity. It happens sometimes, but this would have to be probably the most impressive of the lot.
Especially with the stakes, with being here, with not just talking about, you know, some of the players who played on a GC stage. This is in front of one of the biggest crowds that they will have played in front of. So there's a lot on the line, and you're looking at that trophy. It's drawing your eye every time you look away from your screen. Close fight for Vanya, and she'll get one. It's not the full set, but it's something to start with for GX. They've got some fight to this. 2 versus 4 now, and a flank even underway. This looks set to be a GX pistol, another GX pistol.
Yeah, I was about to say, a lot of things haven't gone well for them. The pistols definitely have, and well, it's left all onto Petra. Again, players incredibly low, but that means nothing in the end. GX will get their second pistol round in this map, and of course they won both in the last map as well. It was the bye rounds where we really saw their opponents begin to shine. And that's the thing as well, like, you have got that deadly duo that we desired throughout the entirety of this series. Ness, online. Smurfette, definitely online. She has been frying. The thing is, though, there's always a response. There's always talent. Right, you get to a grand final, if there's not talent, we have a problem, but that's the thing. It's one thing to go close, as said. Like, you go back to that first map, they are the only team, maybe even this year, that has managed to get to double digits against G2 on Lotus. Getting to double digits doesn't win anything.
No. Maybe pride, that's about it. Here come the tweets.
Was that G2?
God's sake.
And Luthia flawless. G2 have now, their other team have done it.
Oh.
Lothar, put the pen away.
Yeah, close the app, bro. Close the app. There's a little X up the top. Don't save the draft. Don't save the draft.
Put the pen down. It's okay. It's happened. There's nothing we can do.
Breathe. Breathe. A wise man once
Everybody
said,
breathe.
Woosah.
Don't lose your minds.
They can't keep getting away with this stuff. Well, they've quickly.
You know as well that G2 social media manager cracking his fingers like.
Oh, he's ready. He's going to tag Lothar in that one. Well, 7-7. And look, for G2, they've reset themselves. Got rifles out
already.
Mimi's in quite a similar position, though. Down to just 43. Smurfette, 4 health. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. She has pushed up, made noise, destroying a nano that could have killed her, and is still going. Still looking for someone to take down.
It might be a ruse, though. Like, I'm looking at the spike position. The thing is, when you get this far, there has to start to be a question of, well, I kind of just have the site. No one's really challenged me, but they look like they're willing to give this one up. Smurfette may be low, but definitely not out of the round. Managing to catch out a second player, both Amy and ResQ down. This is now a great opportunity for GX to take the lead. They've just got to make sure they don't overextend, because this post plant is a given.
Smurfette, that's a chance for G2 to pull it back. Landed, I mean, what was a headshot, but didn't need to be. Solo entry on 4 HP. Fair to say, Smurfette's already done her job. Now, it's on the rest of the squad to close this one out. As we see G2 prime for this retake. Still the utility there on Vanya to rob them of their sight. The flank up by Mimi catches Miori. Now pressure applied to someone like Jolina up in the window. Not really in a position to stop that defuse. Vanya from the top rope, spotted one down below, and it's a little awkward. It's labored, but it gets there in the end. Cove goes up, spam from Jolina. Reload needed, it's already halved. Now it's close to taking the win. That spam was so desperately close on 11 HP. Petra clinging to life, but Jolina snatches it from her hands.
Much needed Red Bull clutch. I was thinking it was going to happen again where G2 go into a retake with a disadvantage and somehow make it work, but Jolina stood tall. Took them all down in the end, even with the Cove, didn't panic, because that was the main thing. You spam your bullets once again, and that's just a defuse in front of your nose, but instead, even coming back out with a pistol, knowing at the end, didn't matter. 3 rounds in a row, converting that bonus. And for G2, it's back to pistols. This is the start they needed in the second half.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. For GX, this is a lifeline, not just in the map, but most certainly in the series. It needs some sort of home ground to fight from. Haven for them now, well, they've got the lead. They've put G2 into a very weak position with pistols, and G2 even going for some mid-aggression. Vanya's gone walkabouts. For the most part, there shouldn't be a lot to do in this round for the defenders. Problem is, especially when you're talking about G2, it's in those moments where you think, well, they don't really have a lot to work with. This should be easy for their opponents. That they step up for a big play. Think back to last map, or maybe even here as well. The Andalucia flawless with weaker weapons. Well, I think it was last map. If they can go for it this time around.
Let's be real, it always seems like they get one or two. It happens too often for anyone's liking, other than G2 fans. For now, GX, they've taken their time. The thing is, it seems very well telegraphed where they're going to be pushing. Rescue taking a lot of damage, but even still, that time is starting to tick, and there are 3, make that 4 players already here for the side of G2. Flash, decently timed, already a first kill. The trade's back, Vanya still standing, and while it's already getting from bad to worse, finally Smurfette will put down another. Amy just getting on the scene. 10 seconds left for them to get that spike down, and they will. But we've seen her in these positions before. Smurfette swings, and while she'll take the round home, still incredibly dangerous, but they weather that storm.
Definitely not comfortable. And remember, they're up against so many pistols here, but I don't mind it so much because they played up against a really stacked hand. They went into the site where all the players were ready. In fact, not only were they waiting, but they actually fought at just the right moment, because you saw the flashes come out from G2, perfectly timed to initiate that crumble of the first push. This exact flash there. And so the timing was perfect, the stack was perfect. G2, sure, they make it close, but under those conditions, it's not what you expect of a team, especially a team like G2. I don't think it's that worrying for GX just yet. 9-7, strong position to play from, and all they need to do, you break G2's bye here, you're on the home stretch.
Here we go again. That's another tactical pause. That's another opportunity for leader, and that's the thing. There's so many trends that have to be broken. We've seen GX in the lead plenty of times throughout this series so far. And then this. And again, I don't know if it's just taking a breather. I don't know if the leader is specifically picking his opponents apart. I don't know if he has a notebook of every single possible scenario that could happen in this game, because it feels like it.
Oh, it does.
There's always been a response. And for GX, yeah, as said, the last map, they won both pistols. It wasn't that close. This map, they won both pistols. They've got the lead. But as we've seen already, when it gets into those buy rounds, G2 have consistently shown they are that better squad. Already you've got that Reckoning online for Vanya, Hunter's Fury for Ness, 2 high-impact ults that are definitely going to play a part if this ends up in a pulse plant scenario. For the defense, slightly more passive affair. Not really giving too much away. Not even going for any real aggressive fights across the map. They're happy to just sit back and wait for their opponents to try and make a play. And that's the thing. There is very little information right now for GX other than where they are not.
On the lookout, all they see is the Abyss. G2, well, they'll get their contact fairly soon. GX are on their way. B site's the target. That means going straight through ResQ. The easiest for any team to successfully pull off it. ResQ snuck into the smoke. She's up close, the surprise party awaiting them. And Sarah is the first to fall. ResQ, well, caught a straight spam through the smoke for Jolina gets it. And Smurfette might be able, well, the turret's there. It's waiting. I don't think she's going to get past for free with players already here, but she knows that. She hears that turret. Regardless of what way it's pointed, she's not going to risk it. But sticking in the corner, this could have value to it. They're worried about it, but not checking it up first. That's a free kill for Smurfette. She's going to try to get out, Surely. Surely, she's going back. No, she's going forward, taking all the fights and winning them too. Double digits secured for GX.
We said it at the beginning of the map. If there's a player that you need to win a game like this versus G2, it is Final Form Smurfette. This is Final Form Smurfette. 20-7, takes that fight. It sees her teammate lose their lives, but doesn't panic, doesn't worry, looks to try and make a play herself, and she obliterates the rotation. Almost individually. She has some support at the end from Mayuri, but a lot of it was all just done off her own read and intuition. It's by far the best scenario we've seen them in. And well, already, that Final Form player is dead.
That's at least something for G2. And look, we talked before this about fighting fire with fire, and it seems like GX have certainly done a good job of it so far. Smurfette, down and out of this round indeed. She'll have her impact a little bit later on. The spike to be retrieved, and ultimately, no need for panic. GX know what they're up against. Mostly pistols, so one rifle's there for Vanya, but it should be easy when it comes to crunch time. They found one pick. This is where GX make the right call. Group up, take the fights together.
It still makes me nervous. Vanya's not only the one with a rifle, but also with her ultimate. It's placed at the right time. It could cause serious issues, and there you go. It's going to have to be the fade back. 40 seconds. That buys time for a rotation. ResQ now in position as well, and a double back at this stage would leave them very late on time and without information. Sarah's lurk could be everything, though. There's not a lot of utility. In fact, I don't think there's anything watching this other than a low HP ResQ. 25 seconds for them to make the move, and already Vanya's caught one. That lurk needs to be quicker, and in fact, they're losing their lives. Every single player falls. And while the lurk is now too little too late, unless she's going to manage to find all 5 kills, this round is going to go the way of G2, and now she's been spotted. That element of surprise is just too late to the party. A pay save card thrifty for G2 puts them right back in the running.
Well, gee, you'd look like a right idiot if you said that'd be an easy round, wouldn't you? Thank God none of us did that. Yeah, no, listen, G2 with pistols, fair play. I should have seen the red flags. I should have seen the danger on the road, but I didn't. I went straight through the ice.
We also hadn't had a ResQ multi-frag in a while.
That's true. And actually, she started this one out on 4 or 6 HP, so I kind of thought, oh, well, ResQ's low, everything's sorted. I've seen this one before.
Which no. Also, I love the way that most teams would shy away from using high-impact ults in a round where you don't have guns. We are consistently seeing G2 do it to their effect and winning rounds. It has happened so often that the Rolling Thunder going back to Sunset, which was, again, another big turning point in the map. They are so good at using those to effect, and now GX are going to try and respond in turn. It's going to be a trade, but it's an easy revival.
Yeah, of all the players to take down, I suppose there was a beam showing exactly where they are. Play around the smoke from Petra. She's being surrounded up top, down below, nowhere to go. ResQ at least pulls back the kills in their favor, and that's Smurfette falling. But it's still the disadvantage for the defensive side on the retake, and the lurk is going to take a century to get here. Not only that, but the trap waiting as well. Don't see an easy way out of this one.
Oh, especially with the operator of ResQ, you almost need someone to make a mistake The utility not the best either, but it's gone well. Vanya start things off strong. The second not quite going her way. It will be traded out eventually, and now Mimi needs to strike, and she gets nothing for it. It'll be left all onto Rescue. She's going to try and bait them in, but she's been stunned up in the end. It will be an immediate response from GX. 11 rounds on the board now when it comes to Abyss. They're just 2 away from making this series competitive.
He wants his sign back. I think there was even a happy birthday one there as well. Oh, fair play.
What's impressive as well, because you have to look at even just the records. Even though things have been changed in terms of composition, even though matches have been close, G2 are 3-0 on this map, and their opponents are 0-3. So it would literally be their first victory going into this stage. Smurfette is looking to just lead that charge, running straight in, and I don't know how she survived that long. Rescue was behind her, but there's trades back in response. Both duelists having impact. We sit in a 3v3. Amy, though, not a gun of choice.
Why not, Tom? I mean, on a site like this, retaking, it's I can see no reason not to use the Bucky, other than the range and how open the map is. You got to come from a high position out into a wide open angle. Plus, teammates are dying, so at least there's a weapon going to be there to be retrieved. Nice shot by Petra. I thought this round was done, especially with the Bucky, but now it might just be up for grabs yet again. 2 players still, but the time running low, and Sarah causing problems. It's all left onto Petra. She snuck up close, but Sarah's more than ready for that fight. 12 rounds, now locked in, and the 3-0 dream for G2 is fading. GX, they're not going out here, at least not in regulation. They've at least got an OT.
That's for sure. Especially with some of the economy issues with this back and forth. I don't know what sort of buy is going to be available for G2 to try and fight this one back, but we're seeing a strong showing, a strong force from GX. As said, many teams, you lose 2 maps, you lose your choice, especially when you have that veto disadvantage. You're going to be boomed. But it hasn't looked that way. I think their leader in Smurfette has made sure that it's not allowed to be that way, winning some rounds off her own individual brilliance, and already she looks to do it again. A double alongside Sarah, making it 3. And now Mimi and Vanya, 2 players with vast experience and talent within this game, have an impossible task.
Well, they came with the objective of fighting fire with fire. And, well, they've come out unscathed by the looks of it. It's G2 with that 3-0 dream that comes crumbling down. GX, 1 kill away, a fraction of a health bar away from taking this across the line, finding their map win, and guaranteeing us at least 1 more. Haven will be the next map, and thanks to GX, we'll be going there after the break.